When I was 15 years old, I was expelled from the leading private school in the UK as part of a whistleblowing scandal. Morally, it was a devastating ordeal and very hard to deal with. As a teenager, having to lose most of your friends and not being able to study and live in a place where you really thought you belonged was a very difficult situation to get through. I've never shared my story in public before today, but I would like to shed some light on it and tell you about what I've learned from my experience. My story starts in Sweden, where I was born. I lived there with my mother. I went to ordinary schools, and I concentrated on becoming a professional tennis player. And it came a time when I was about 11 years old when I realized that I didn't have the talent to become a pro. My smash wasn't quite hard enough, and my serve didn't go in. And my coach wouldn't keep training me. So my father, he offered me to study in the UK. So I thought, well, if I'm not going to get to Wimbledon by playing tennis, I might just as well move to London and take the tube there. So I arrived in London and I went to a day school here in Battersea, not far away, and I was able to improve my English vocabulary and study very, very hard for a year to be able to sit exams to the most prestigious and leading private schools in the country. And I got a place. I almost got a scholarship at this really old school. And when I was 13, I arrived there. My parents got taken into this kind of a hall like this for all the parents, and they were told by the headmaster that you have dropped off your boys at this school, and you think that £25,000 is a lot of money for their education. Trust me, in 2 years' time, when they will turn into teenage monsters, £25,000 will be cheap. And with that, I started my school career. With those words, I did turn into some kind of a monster a few years later, and this is what the school looked like. So it was very traditional. It was only boys. You had to live in it, so it was a boarding school. And you even had to wear gowns. I could really relate to the whole Harry Potter story here, apart from all the magic. And this is my class, and I'm right at the top there. I have put on a bit of weight since and lost the afro. So I excelled at maths and science, and I played a lot of sports for the school, but I was looking for my own kind of magic. And I found it in computers. I always loved technology right from since I was a little boy. I would tinker with all the computers and program in MS-DOS and things. And these guys at the school who were above me and the seniors who were hackers. And it was really cool to be a hacker. I mean, this was a very special school. Cool to be a hacker. So I wanted to hack, and I wanted to program, and I wanted to make things and destroy things. I wanted to be this superhuman in this virtual world called the school network. So I said, well, how do I learn to become a hacker? And I thought, well, you have to read books. So I went to the bookstore, this is a school bookstore, and I got this book, Hacking for Dummies. And another 50 books that I read through, and I got very good at it. I felt really powerful. I had found my magic. I had found my passion. I opened a file sharing site for music, for films, and videos that illicit material that you might find in boys' schools. I won't show you here. I'm not allowed, I don't think. But at the same time, two of the senior guys who were the real hackers, so to say, they did something much more deep. They were snooping in emails of senior staff. And what they would find out would change my life and result in the biggest scandal in the history of private schools in the UK. I enjoyed my godly powers. But then I thought, well, I'll have to do something more productive. So I went to the IT department and I volunteered twice a week to secure the network, to be the good guy. And one day, suddenly, we found out the news that the 2 senior hackers were expelled. It was very hard for the school community to deal with this. And because we were led to believe that if you get expelled from this school, your life is over. Your career is done, you'll become an alcoholic or a drug addict. You're finished. So everybody was naturally really afraid. But one of the senior hackers who got expelled, he plotted his revenge. One day I go into the library where all the newspapers lie around, and I see these headlines. 2 boys blew whistle on public school fees cartel. And they leaked tens of emails between senior staff members and the governor of the school. And this is what the finance director wrote in one of the emails. Confidential, please, so we aren't accused of being in a cartel. Who writes that in an email? I mean, thank God these guys blew the whistle. I mean, Julian Assange would have been proud of us. So the man who organized all of this, the email went to him, was the warden of the school. And he was the head of the anti-monopoly committee in the UK. He was the deputy head of the Bank of England. So he was fired and he was shamed in the press. And naturally he was very angry. So the school decided that they would prevent future leaks and get rid of anyone associated with hacking. So after some time, I get called into the office of my housemaster. And he says, I have confiscated your computer and you have to give me the password. And then I did the big mistake of actually giving him the password. I should have pleaded temporary amnesia or something. I should have thought of something. Anyway, and he gives me this A4 piece of paper. And he says, well, write a confession. I said, write a confession about what? He says, well, everything that you've done. And I said, well, I haven't done anything. And he said, well, your friend next door has confessed to everything. And he has given everything about you up. We know everything, but we are giving you a chance to come clean so that your punishment becomes less. But, so this is the kind of the usual prisoner's dilemma that we know in economics, what to do, confess or not. But I didn't confess, so I wrote him an essay about my life at school and how I wake up and how I enjoy the food and things like that. And they didn't quite like that, so they interrogated me for about 2 more weeks. The headmaster interrogated me, the vice headmaster, the IT department, teachers' committees, my housemaster again. They wouldn't let me leave the room for hours until I actually wrote something. They got a lot of information out of me. I mean, they were really good. They should have worked for the KGB, I think, or maybe they did at one point, because they were really good at it. So my friends, they got separated in 2 camps. One set of friends would write lots of confessions about me and what I did and how bad I was, and other ones would write petitions to leave me at the school. 14 days later, roughly, since it all started, my parents get called in, and they go into this really traditional office, and the headmaster comes out and says, Philip is a very dangerous person. He has broken many laws. He is a criminal that no doubt one day will go to prison. And we don't want that kind of person in our school. So he is expelled, I'm sorry, bon voyage. And my father had an epic, legendary reply to that. And he said, he whips out this big stack of paper. And he goes, well, actually, this is a school report that you signed 3 months ago saying that he's an exemplary student and has great character. This is his report from his old school, saying that he deserves a great place at this great school, etc. Here's a certificate of gratitude from the computer department for helping them out, signed by you. So that means that I gave you an exemplary boy 2 years ago and £50,000, and you give me back a criminal. I'm sorry, I want my money back. Sadly, we didn't get any money back. So in reality, what I had actually done was, yes, I did websites. I shared things on the network. Then I worked for IT, and I wanted IT and technology to be part of my future. I wanted to be me. So my parents, they launched an appeal to kind of clear my name. That failed. And what actually happened, what we found out, that one of my friends got caught hacking or something, and he said, well, he gave me up. He said, I got all of these programs and all of these tips from Filip. But he, in turn, got it from this guy who released everything to the papers. So Filip is associated with this guy who released everything to the papers. 2 hours later, my computer was confiscated. So, and that kind of really hurt. I was expelled. I went back to visit the school. I wanted to see my friends. None of them would see me, none of them would talk to me, because their housemasters told them that I'm a criminal. And if they talk to me ever again, they will get punished. I had nowhere to go. No other school, or many other schools, wouldn't have me, so I had trouble finding a school. The appeal failed. I couldn't sit my exams. It was the lowest point of my life to date. I vowed not to program ever again. And because I was disappointed in me and my failings and my alleged actions, I actually started to believe that I was this really bad person that they made out to be. It took some time, but I recovered. I found a new school. I went to a good university and I got a good job. And now I run an IT startup. So it was a long way back to my passion. Having matured and analyzed this for many years, I have a few key learnings from the whole situation. This guy is called the trusty servant, and he is this kind of the mascot of the school that I was studying. He's on the crest. And this is the ideal of any educational system, any corporation, any government. This is what people for 500 years want or wanted you to be. He sees everything with his big eyes, he hears everything, he keeps his mouth shut, he runs for his master very quickly, he's very skilled, he protects his master and he fights for him. So, and this, I had to look at this bloody thing every day when I went to school, and I really didn't want to look like him. I hope I don't. And so, but he represents the status quo. So if you want to, and this guy is really, really against transparency. He wants the old ways. He's very traditional. So if you want to be different, or if you want to think different, if you want to do something in a new way, he will be in your way all the time. So either you suit up and you fight him, or you leave and you find another platform to make change and pursue your passions. And that is exactly why we have so many dropouts that become very successful entrepreneurs, innovators, and scientists from jobs, from universities, from schools, because of this guy. So, another thing that I learned was that bad luck exists. I did not blow the whistle. I didn't even have the information on the school. It was my friends who had the information. I was friends with them, association. But I was swept away by the same wave as they were. So you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, with the wrong friends, and you might say with the wrong passion. But I learned that life is long, and that you should never give up. And failure is just a step to success. If you're persecuted, rejected, thrown away, you should regroup, rethink, and come back stronger. With hard work, a new plan, dedication, and devotion to your passion, you will prevail. It might take you a long time, but life is long enough to start over again and again until you find your place. Thank you.